The views expressed in this program do not reflect the views of the staff, management, or licensee of this station. This is 91.7 FM WHUS Stores. I am Peddlin' Ron, and you are listening to Bicycle Talk. Bicycle Talk, episode 457, to be broadcast Wednesday, October 15th, 2025, on WHUS 91.7 FM and WHUS.org. Welcome to Bicycle Talk without my friendly co-host, the lovely Dr. Fran Storch. If you are watching on Facebook Live, please feel free to comment below. I may be able to answer you. I may not. If you're listening to this on audio file, you can always drop me an email. Bicycle Talk is a show where we talk about bicycles, bicycle culture, bicycle advocacy, upcoming news in cycling, and bicycle business and the bicycle calendar. If you have a comment or you'd like to contribute information to the show and are watching right now live, you can see it right down. You can make your comment right down here below, or you can just send me an email at bicycletalk1@gmail.com. You can listen to past episodes of Bicycle Talk on WHUS.org, iTunes, Spotify, and now on my Bicycle Talk YouTube channel. Here we go. Ron's Rant of the Week. As you know, we don't have enough issues with the lack of sharing, the lack of or sharing of the road. DoorDash plans to send autonomous robots into bike lanes. Yeah, folks, there it is. We have these lovely bike lanes, right? They're really nice. All for us, right? Now DoorDash is going to use these autonomous delivery vehicles in them, apparently. But we'll talk about this a little bit more in the show. Could the future of delivery zoom right past you in the bike lane? If you live in Tempe or Mesa, Arizona, you might find out real soon. That's where DoorDash has begun the rollout of DOT, its new autonomous delivery robot, an all-electric bot that can hit speeds up to 20 miles per hour and is designed to navigate on the bike paths. Good Lord, where are we? And how many times do I have to say this? Rail trails, another complaint from yet another person on the rail trail. These folks were riding their bikes. They're riding their bikes at a predictable 12 to 15 mile an hour pace, not real slow, but they were out riding their bikes. And what did they do? They got buzzed by a bunch of wannabe Lance Armstrongs. That's when I'll use his name, when people are being real idiots. That were blasting by, all lycra clad, not saying anything about coming up from behind, not mentioning on your left when they went by them, just buzzing them at full speed. If you're a speed demon or an e-bike racer, please stay off the trails. You don't belong there. If you can maintain 20 miles an hour on the road, get back on the road where you belong. Those trails aren't made for you. They have a maximum speed limit of 15 miles per hour, sometimes less, depending on what area you're in. Get your butt back out on the road where it belongs. That's my rant of the week. That's where I'm going to stop. There's so much more that I can talk about, but we got a show to produce here. So we're going to move on. Positive side. Saturday was the 42nd year of Mansfield Hollow Cyclocross. Now, it has not been all 42 of those years, but it did start 42 years ago by some guy who owned a bicycle shop in Willimantic called Rainbow Cycle Sport. That would be me. And I put together a 4-week series back in the day, basically joined in with Massachusetts-based cyclocross series done by Bill Sykes out at Corner Cycles, and shout out to Bill. I know he's still out there. And also Neil from Putney, Vermont, and the West Hill Shop. And we basically put together a 9-week series of New England bicycle cyclocross racing, which was really cool. And on Saturday, we had yet another big event. Lots of people showed up. Pretty good turnout. Would like to see more riders would have liked to see more volunteers, but you know what? We got by. We made it happen. It's done. It's over, and that is that. So another one in the books. Epic course, absolute epic course. Big shout out to Dave Geisert and Keith Enderly. I call them my course design engineers. Dave says, no, it's all Keith. Keith is, well, if it's all Keith, shout out to Keith. Shout out to both you guys. You put a lot of effort into it. You put a lot of work into it. You keep the enthusiasm going, and I really, really appreciate that. So anyway, moving on from Mansfield Hollow Cyclocross, Tadej is at it again. Hip, hip, Tadej. Yes, sirree. Tadej Pogačar has won yet another race, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the show. A tip of the chapeau to American racer Quinn Simmons. Extraordinary performance over last weekend. Pretty cool stuff. And cargo bike or car? Maybe it's time to make that decision. You never know. That's a definite thing that we will talk about on the show. Cross-country running and cyclocross and judo possible in new Winter Olympic sports, along with other new Olympics developments. We'll get to more of that on the show. Cyclocross finally makes the Olympics. It's about time. Anyway, moving forward. Mechanical Minute and Ron's bike tips. It's important to get the correct saddle height. Otherwise, you may be more prone to injury. Also, if the saddle height is wrong, your cycling will be less efficient. We'll talk about that. And the Silka Guide, tire pressure. So Silka has put this really cool site on that you can go to, and if you would like to reference it, go to the Bicycle Talk Facebook page, and you will see a posting on my Bicycle Talk page, and you can click on that, and we will talk a little bit more about that in the show because, well, maybe we'll talk about it now. We'll get there. But anyway, it's really cool. I was very impressed because all you have to do is put your numbers in, and there it is right in front of you. So it's pretty cool. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is this actually was supposed to be in a positive side because there were just so many positive things this morning. I just couldn't put them all together at once. Zone 2 training makes NPR's morning edition, and cycling is one of the featured examples. More in the show once again. So let's go back to our Mechanical Minute and let's talk about that. Let's see here. Where should I go first? Let's go to correct saddle height. Okay. So a lot of people complain when they ride their bike about their knees hurting. I hear it a lot. I hear it all the time. I will often, if I am out riding with them and they're talking about their knee pain, I will often look over at them and I'll see, this is just my observation, that their saddle is too high. Now, too high, too low, which is right? What do I do? Want to do it completely right? Go get a professional bicycle fitting. They can really dial you in. If you don't have the funds to do that sort of thing and you want to try to do it on your own, maybe I can give you a few tips here, but saddle height is saddle height. And I find that I have been, I adjust my saddle height as I age. It seems to change a little bit, but everything changes. And so you never really know until you make a small incremental change. No more than 2 millimeters at a time is my advice to you. Hey, Matthew, good to see you here today. Nice to see you. Matthew from down in the New Haven area, strong advocate for cycling. Nice to see him. So anyway, it's important to get the correct saddle height. Otherwise, you're going to be prone to injury. Also, saddle height is wrong. Your cycling is going to be less efficient. So when you're making adjustments, it's best to make small adjustments at a time. Like I said, 2 millimeters maximum. That's it. And what do you do with that? So you change it 2 millimeters. You go out and you ride for a couple of weeks with it. And you hear me there? A couple of weeks with it. And see if it made a difference. Maybe If it caused pain right away, then I would say go back to where you were. If it did not, and you seem to be feeling a positive development from it, then that's a good thing. But no more than 2 millimeters at a time is my recommendation to you. So please be careful about the saddle height thing. The other thing I see is people with riding their bikes with their seats too low, and that happens too. But I would say that the most offensive one I see, the one that I see that seems to be prevalent as far as wrong saddle height goes, is probably the too high. Many people come up alongside of me and go, your saddle's too low. And I go, well, actually it's not. It's just right. And, you know, how do I know that? Because if I go up any higher, like I'm talking 2 millimeters, I'm going to experience pain in my knees. So there it is. Pain is a wonderful tool to teach you what you can and cannot do. And so anyway, I go by that, and I have gone by that for a number of years. I like my saddle a little lower than some people do. It is true, but it also is what works for me. And before when I was trying to figure out my whole neck situation here, and my numbness in my toes and my hands and my loss of power and all that, I was going to a chiropractor, and the chiropractor adjusted me. The first time he adjusted me, he said, you're just a mess. He said, you're all off. And he took about 1.5 inches out of one of my legs as far as just with an adjustment. So what he came up with was one of my legs was 1.5 inches shorter than the other leg. But it wasn't my leg being shorter. It was because of a chiropractic adjustment within my spine that he was able to correct that. And it has since has not gone back. It's whenever I go to see him, it's dead on. It's the same. So magic with a chiropractor. He's got that magic little gun that he uses that pops on your vertebrae. Kind of an amazing guy. He also recognized severe issues in my neck, which I was also going to a neurologist at the same time. Long story, but anyway, that part is over and continuing, because the recovery on that is 1 year to 1.5 years, and I'm only 3 months into it. But anyway, so what is actually the top of your saddle? It depends on how you take the measurement from the saddle, and all saddles are different too. I tend to like to use a saddle that is very, very, very flat. And by using a very, very flat saddle, I can get my position exactly where I want it to be. But there are some saddles that have like a wave in them. Fran rides on an SMP, and it is an unusual looking saddle as far as there is no real flat to it, but it's got kind of a hooked nose, and it's a very unusual saddle. I'm more of a physique guy. I like the physique saddles for 2 reasons. One, because I can make them very flat across the top. Number 2 is because they tend to be a little narrower at the back, which is better for me, because otherwise I have problems with my adductors, and they push me forward on the saddle. So there's a lot of the Italian saddles made by Sella, or the basic frames of saddles that are made by a company called Sella Royale, that don't work for me at all, because they push me right up onto the nose of the saddle, and I don't find the nose of the saddle the most comfortable place to hang out. I'd rather be on the saddle itself. So it really is tough to find the right saddle and find something that is perfectly flat. So sometimes there'll be a little bit of an arc to it, but the key point here is when you're sitting on the saddle, you want to be sitting on the saddle, not on the nose, not on the front. You want to be sitting on the back of the saddle. And that may require a very incremental position change as far as the angle of the saddle goes. I tend to ride with all my saddles 1 degree or 2 nose up. Again, some people are very irritated by that. Some men especially are irritated by that. Some women are irritated by that. We all are different, okay? So you got to figure out what works best for you. The best way to do that is, again, professional bicycle fitter can help you out with that. But again, it comes down to a comfort thing. So you sometimes you just have to fiddle around with it yourself until you get it right. So so what you're going to do is you're probably going to take a measurement from the saddle line down the down tube, with the highest part of the saddle being the center of the saddle, being your measurement from the center of the bottom bracket area. So again, I try to keep my saddles flat horizontally. So a very rough guide to saddle height. There should always be a small bend in the knee. When your pedal is at the lowest position, you should have a small bend, roughly 25 to 30 degrees. If your leg is perfectly stretched, the saddle is too high. And like I said, I see that often. When you sit on a saddle, you should be able to touch the ground with your toes, not flat-footed. Most people begin cycling with the height too low. This is often a legacy of childhood cycling, and also a feeling of that a lower saddle height makes it easier to get on and off the bike. That's not a good thing. So anyway, there are different formulas and methods for getting the correct saddle height. Initially, the formulas that are used in this particular article that I'm reading from were from a bike fit in London, and they were happy with the saddle height and didn't change it. So and again, you may go to a fitter and they're going to take a look at your saddle height and they're going to say, you got it right, you got it perfect, you look good, you're very efficient, we're measuring wattage when we're putting you on the fit machine, and you're really getting the most out of your bike. This will be extremely rare, I'm telling you right now. Also, with age. Why do I mention the age thing? Because we're getting older every day. Remember that. We're getting older every day. I know that's not really depressing. It's just reality is what it is. And our bodies change and they shift. And there's different things that are going on with our bodies. Some of us end up going through crazy things like, cervical fusions of our necks, and now all of a sudden I've got to make all sorts of changes. I have an appointment that I'm going to be scheduling really soon with a bike fitter because my position is got to be changed from where I'm at. I can't look up like I used to. So right now I've been riding with a flat bar bike, but I don't want to ride with a flat bar bike. I want to ride on my drop bars. So therefore I'm going to have to get that fit correct. Saddle height wise, I think I've got it. I think I'm pretty dialed in. I did notice after I got out of the chiropractor's office, and once he had made those adjustments, the first thing I did was I went to my the indoor bicycle that I teach indoor cycling on, and I measured, and I was off by an inch as far as saddle height went. I raised it up an inch, and it's been perfect ever since. I've not had a problem at all. Here's a key indicator. If you are running your saddle too high, what you're going to find is when you get to the bottom of the pedal stroke, you're going to find yourself pointing your toes down. And I have people tell me this all the time. You go, well, I'm fine. I said, I'm not uncomfortable. It doesn't bother my knees at all, nothing at all. But I look at their pedal stroke and their foot is not flat at the bottom of the pedal stroke. If your foot's not flat at the bottom of the pedal stroke, you can't pull through with the power you need. And so you're going to be very inefficient. And yes, you may be able to ride that way, but you're going to be reaching. You're still going to be reaching no matter how you look at it. My general indicator that works pretty good is I just put my foot with the shoe off. I put my heel on the pedal. And if my heel is lightly feathering or maybe even just a little bit above the center of the pedal at the bottom of the pedal stroke, I got it right. That's what works best for me. That comes from an old Greg LeMond method. So big shout out to Greg on that one. He had a bunch of interesting things that he did, and I used to follow him fairly closely, and he wasn't wrong. So it all works. The 109% method it involves measuring your inner leg length. You multiply the inner leg length measurement by 1.09, and this figure will be the distance from the top of the saddle to the pedal axle. That's one way of doing it. There's another one called the Holmes method. This uses a different approach altogether and involves measuring the angle of the knee at the bottom of the pedal stroke. The angle of the knee is measured by a goniometer. It will require someone to do that for you. Once again, a bike fitter or a very good friend. But there are some videos on YouTube that you can watch, and it'll show you exactly how to do it and how it's done. So the formula used for correcting saddle height is 1 millimeter per degree. If you find that you have an angle of 40 degrees, the saddle is too low. Then you reduce your degree to 30 degrees, and involves increasing the saddle height by 10 millimeters or 1 centimeter. That's a big change. And observing knee under load. This is something that basically you're looking to do an observation when the knee is under stress, and then it also does require someone. So we're right back to that same thing. If you want to get the perfect fit, talk to somebody about it. Talk to somebody who's good at it, and they can help you out, and they will take the time to do it. Not the 5-minute quick fix. This is done with lots of different things. Just cleat positions. There's so many things that can be done. They use lasers now for exact measurements. I used to use a different method, but similar to what you would use with a laser. But we didn't have lasers when I was fitting people on bikes because I'm old school. But I had another method that worked really well with sight. So there's saddle height and knee pain. Wrong saddle height or sharp curves in the saddle can cause knee pains. If your saddle is too high, you may develop knee pain in the back of the knee. When the saddle is too high, you are more prone to tilting and imbalanced pedal to compensate for the height. So anyway, back to flat feet on the pedals. If you're pedaling around flat-footed with your heels on the pedal, there should be no hip sway. No reaching from the hip. If you're reaching from the hip, your saddle is probably too high. If it's too low, the knee pain will be at the front of the knee. So you got a couple of key indicators there. Too high, pain in the back of the knee. Too low, pain in the front of the knee. After changing the saddle height, it is not the time to do very long rides, but get used to it. Again, you take it out, you ride it for a couple of weeks. Don't go super hard. See how it feels. Make sure you fit into it nicely. So that's basically what you have to do to get your saddle fit correct. And it's a touchy subject, so I'm going to let you talk it over with maybe your local bike shop who does this sort of thing, and maybe they can help you out. That would be a good thing. I would suggest that. Let's move on to the next piece in my mechanical minute and cycling tip. And it's never a minute, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that or not. It's never a minute. But anyway, we're going to go on to the site that was put together by Silca. Silca is a company that's been making professional bicycle pumps for a long time. I have one in my garage. It's old school. It's made out of a piece of Columbus tubing. If you old steel tubing folks are out there, they're generally made in Italy. I don't know if they're still made in Italy. Hard to believe where anything is made these days because everything moves around. But anyway, it's just a great pump. The Silca Piece to Track pump. It's a great pump. They work really good. They're very accurate. They last a long time, and they can be rebuilt. I'm going to say an infinite amount of times because I've owned mine since I'm going to go back to the 70s. I've owned mine, so it's a long-lasting device, and they are currently not as cheap as they used to be. They're very expensive, but they do work well. And you can, like, I had mine finally, the gauge finally went on mine. And I thought, well, it's an old pump. It's probably shot. I'm not going to be able to do anything with it. What I do, I went online. Guess what? Silca's still around. Silca still has the gauges. I contacted them. They sent me a new gauge. Works great. You can also get the leather gaskets for the inside of them. Yeah, leather. Remember that stuff? Leather? Yeah, right. They used to make shoes out of that too, right? Anyway, Sorry, I digress. So anyway, yeah, you can get rebuildable parts for it. It's really cool. So you go to their site and you can select your surface condition, and the drop-down menu gives you track indoor wood, track outdoor concrete, new pavement, worn pavement, some cracks, category 1 gravel, whatever that may be, poor pavement, chip seal. That's kind of what we ride on up here. Category 2 gravel, cobblestones, category 3 gravel, and category 4 gravel. Now the 1, 2, 3, 4 gravel, I am not 100% sure about. I imagine that category 1 gravel is a pretty smooth road, and category 4 is bouldery and, you know, probably pretty lumpy as far as that goes. But anyway, you pick it. So I'm going to pick right here, poor pavement chip seal. And then then you're going to select down below that, you're going to select your wheel diameter, and they give you a choice of 700C/29er, 650C, 650B, which is 27.5, and 26 inch. So they give you a few different ones. I'm a 700C guy, so I'm going to click that. And then down here below that, you have average speed. This is, you know, debatable thing here, but here are your choices. Recreational, fast single track, moderate group ride, fast group ride, category 1, category 2, category 3 racing, and Pro Tour. Well, I definitely am not in the Pro Tour anymore, and I'm certainly not in the Cat 1, 2, 3 race, so that's not going to work either. Fast group ride, rare right now. I'm more of a moderate group ride kind of guy. So I'm going to click on that. And then we go over here to select measured tire width. Well, right now I am running on 28C tires for the most part. So I'm going to put 28 millimeter in there. And then select tire type. It gives you a choice of high performance, tubeless latex tube, mid-range casing tubeless latex tube, mid-range casing butyl tube, puncture-resistant tubeless latex tube. So you've got a few different things right there. I'm going to go with kind of a mid-range because I don't do tubeless. Yeah, I know. You can yell at me. It's okay. I'm just not a tubeless guy. And, oh, shout out to Patty who's watching right now too. Hi, Patty. Thank you for watching us. So I'm going to go with that mid-range one, and then weight distribution. So the selections here are 50-50 triathlon, time trial, track bikes. So obviously you're going to be in a much more forward position, certainly not the most comfortable position as far as I'm concerned. So that would be a 50-50 triathlon TT track bike. And then the next one is a 48-52 road bike, and then there's a 47-53 gravel bike and a 46.5, 53.5 mountain bike. So I'm going with the road bike because that's what I ride. And then you hit a calculate button down on the bottom, right? And isn't there a place for your weight? Oh yeah, way up the very top. You put in your weight. So how heavy are you? These days, I don't know, I just came from a doctor's appointment last week, a cardiologist appointment last week. They clocked me in at 135 pounds, so I'm going to put 135 pounds in there. And they give you a pound or kilogram type of measurement there, and you can adjust it to whatever. So I put in 135 because that's what I just got weighed at the doctor's office, and you hit the calculate button, and here we go. And this is where the big surprise comes. I have been pushing for lower tire pressures and wider tires for a long time. The wider the tire gets, the less pressure you need to put in the tire. So going up to a 28C tire from what I originally was on was like a 20C tubular, which is a long time ago. I then graduated to a 23C clincher and rode those for years. Now I'm on 28C tires because I like being able to keep the fillings in my teeth, and that's a good thing. So my rear tire pressure, according to this calculation, is 66.5 PSI. Sound low to you? Sounded low to me too. I usually run right around 70, 75, but this thing says 66.5. Front tire PSI is at 65. You can mess around with this. It's a whole lot of fun. It's on the Bicycle Talk Facebook page. I strongly urge you to take a look at this and fiddle around and look at your bikes and check your tire pressures. I guarantee you're overinflated. Most people are. This is a thing that happens. I see it often. So anyway, you will find that you can, you'll basically find yourself being able to ride more comfortably, go a little bit faster, and, maybe get beat up a little bit less by the end of your ride. Check it out. It's from Silka, and again, the site is on my Facebook page. Let's move on to another thing here. We've hit that one hard. The Zone 2 training thing. Did I put that up here? I think I did. No, I didn't. Yeah, here it is. Zone 2 training. So this morning I am driving up to the community center in the deep darkness of the morning, and I am listening to NPR, National Public Radio. And what do? They come on with this Zone 2 training story. And it starts talking about how Zone 2 training has become very, very popular. Well, I've been doing it for years, but, we didn't really look at it as Zone 2 back then. We looked at it as long, slow distance training. But anyway, building your aerobic capacity. So when you're training in all, you have to train in all zones. Zone 2 should be one of the most important parts of any training program. And if you're training for an endurance goal, whether it be finishing a marathon or completing an Ironman or a long bicycle race, this training will includes different training zones, intensities, and workouts spread throughout your week. Every training zone serves a purpose. However, the most effective zone is, and to prioritize, is Zone 2. This is arguably one of the most important aspects of endurance sports and performance. Many novice and young athletes fall into the trap of thinking the only way to get faster is to always train fast. Guess what? Beats you up, makes you go slower. So don't forget about your Zone 2. It's more of a recovery type area. Zone 2 boosts your athletic performance on the cellular level. It improves your ability to utilize fat and effectively clear lactate, ultimately allowing you to train longer and get stronger. Pro athletes don't skip Zone 2 training. As a matter of fact, lots of them are working with Zone 2 training more now, and we have noticed, if you're not paying attention, that the professional peloton has gotten faster over the years. There's a lot more science involved in cycling now than there was years ago. And I'm not saying it wasn't there years ago. I'm just saying it maybe wasn't practiced as much years ago. So elite endurance athletes between 65 and 75% of their training is in, did you figure it out yet? Zone 2. Zone 2 it's not that hard. It's I'm not sure I understand. Very, very, very comfortable. Siri doesn't understand. So it's very, very comfortable, quite honestly. But that's the place that you can get more effective training. Now, I'm not saying that you need to only ride there, because if you only ride there, you're only going to be there, and it's not going to change. Your fitness isn't going to change. You need to still put in your high intensity training, your Zone 4s, possibly a little Zone 5. We're pushing really, really hard at that point. Your heart rate's very, very high, and your effort level is very, very high. But if you are riding like that, high intensity interval work, if you don't take the break and hang out in Zone 2, you will not recover from it. And you can still do it day after day after day, but eventually your body's going to say, sorry, not doing this anymore. So this is really important. Fat is primarily stored in adipose tissue, which it's also stored in skeletal muscle in small amounts. Carbs are stored as a form of glycogen in the skeletal muscle, about 80%, and in the liver, about 15%. The exercise intensity, metabolic and physical stress, as well as muscle fiber recruitment pattern dictate the energy system and substrate that is activated, which then correlate with different training zones. So there's all sorts of science going on in that lovely little body of yours that you've been working on for so many years. And you're going to look at things like exercise intensity, and how you can utilize your system for that. Higher exercise intensities beyond 75% of your VO2 max, to maintain muscle contractile demands. Carbohydrates become a main energy substrate in skeletal muscles, using at intensities of 100% VO2 max. Beyond this intensity, you cannot generate, you just, obviously you can't go over 100%. That just does not work. So muscle fiber recruitment, slow twitch, fast twitch, depends on what you are as far as your muscle type fibers go. I'm a big time slow twitch guy. Never really had a lot of speed as far as, quick pop out of the saddle like my friend Pat that worked with me yesterday putting away the cyclocross race. He was a track rider, and so he had incredible fast twitch. I was more of a slow twitch, climb long hills kind of guy. So everybody's different, again, and until you get tested, you really don't know. So I definitely encourage it. So zone 2 training utilizes fat utilization. Type 1 muscle fibers are also responsible for lactate clearance. Lactate is a byproduct of glucose utilization, which is used in large amounts by fast twitch muscle fibers. So those hard blasts that you do end up building up lactic acid in your legs. That's that pain that you feel in your legs and that energy zap that you feel. So you're going to find zone 2 training is going to increase mitochondrial density as well as MCT1 transporters. This improves your ability to clear lactate, which is key for athletic performance. So they're talking, how long do you stay in it? An endurance athlete should never stop training in zone 2. The ideal training plan should include 3 to 4 days a week of zone 2 training in the first 2 to 3 months of preseason training, followed by 2 to 3 days a week as the season gets closer, and 2 days of maintenance once the season is in full swing. So it's a lot of time that you're going to spend there. Good stuff. If you're curious about it, there's lots of information online. There's lots of YouTube videos about it. Definitely check it out. Zone 2 training, it's a thing. All right, we're going to run out of time here if I don't keep moving along. So the Connecticut laws, I'll mention this, for e-bikes are in effect as of October 1st, 2025. Electric bicycles are bikes equipped with operable foot pedals and an electric motor and fewer than 750 watts of power, either class 1, class 2, or class 3 bicycle. Electric bicycle does not include a dirt bike or an all-terrain bicycle. Electric foot scooters are also in this category. They weigh no more than 75 pounds, has 2 or maybe even 3 wheels, handlebars, and a floorboard, and can be stood upon while riding. And so there are different categories here, and some of these e-bikes can go as much as, we've talked about this for a while now, as fast as like 28 miles per hour with assistance. So you're pedaling, but you also can go up to 28 miles per hour. Anything over that is no longer an e-bike. It is now a vehicle. It requires a license, requires registration. A lot of people don't know that, and these are the ones that make me upset when they're on a bike path or a bike trail. You don't belong there. You just don't. That's all there is to it. So under the new law, e-bikes with batteries over 750 watts and without pedals are classified as motor-driven cycles. State of Connecticut. The bikes that don't need registration but do require a license. However, any e-bike with batteries over 3,500 watts gets a motor-driven vehicle classification, and that means the vehicle needs a state registration and insurance to operate. Interesting, huh? So chill out on your e-bike, please. I love the idea. I think it's great. As a matter of fact, it brings me to the next category here that I want to talk about today, which is top 8 reasons people are choosing cargo bikes over cars. A lot of the cargo bikes that are out there are actually, they are motor assisted. So that's a real good thing. And you're going to find that they are just a great alternative to using a car if you should want to save yourself a lot of cash over the long run. Lots of people are moving in that direction. I'm going to have to actually save this one for next week because there's a lot of discussion that I'd like to get into with this, and we just really don't have the time. So because I have other things that are also listed here on the show, but we'll get to it. So moving on to the next subject that I have here, we're going to talk a little bit more about something I brought up on a rant. And the rant was DoorDash. All right. So DoorDash is, obviously it's a food delivery system that, people order fast food or takeout food, and they have a DoorDash person that comes to their door and delivers their food to them. It's all done online. And so now you don't even have to deal with the DoorDash person at your door, because the future of the delivery is going to be in autonomous vehicles. This is experimental. It is being used in Tempe and Mesa, Arizona. And we will be seeing something called DOT, capital D-O-T, the new autonomous delivery robot and all-electric bot that can hit speeds up to 20 miles an hour. And they're talking about putting them on the bike lanes. I'm crying foul here. I'm really crying foul. Bike lanes, 15 miles an hour. Didn't we talk about this earlier on the show? Yeah, I think that putting something out there that A, does not have a human being on it, which is the first part of the problem, and B, can go that fast, is going to be a huge hazard. And these things they're bulbous. They're because they have to carry food in the inside of them. So it's not like they're, the delivery person who's riding on their single speed with a messenger bag on their back. This is a whole different game. I don't think they've been tested enough. And cyclists are voicing concern about whether these robots are tested thoroughly enough to coexist safely with human-powered transport. With the potential high-speed movement or narrow congested bike lanes, reactions online have ranged from skepticism to outright frustration. I agree. I completely agree. DoorDashers and other food delivery folks are already filling up bike lanes with all manner to bicycles, included high-powered e-bikes, mopeds, and scooters, often creating significant hazards along the way. Cyclists have long had to share safe spaces with others. Maybe the tiny robot won't be any different. Let's see. What do you think about that idea? You don't always need a full-size car to deliver a tube of toothpaste or a pack of diapers. That's the insight behind DOT, says Stanley Tang, co-founder and head of DoorDash Labs. What is a DOT? Okay, according to DoorDash's announcement, DOT is not just another sidewalk rover. It's the first commercial autonomous robot designed to move seamlessly between roads, sidewalks, driveways, and bike lanes, built in-house by DoorDash Labs. DOT is 1/10 the size of a car. fully electric to reduce emissions, capable of 20-mile-an-hour top speed, equipped with advanced sensors and AI to optimize safe routing, designed for neighborhood trips and small, quick deliveries. What do you think? It's very unusual looking, although maybe not. Maybe this is going to do it. Who knows? Could it actually improve bicycle infrastructure? While there's much conversation that is focused on risks, some cycling and urban planning communities are cautiously optimistic. If autonomous delivery robots begin to rely on bike lanes, cities may finally be pushed to improve, maintain, and expand cycling infrastructure, not just for cyclists, but to accommodate new forms of lightweight electronic transport. Others point out that a multimodal delivery system combining robots, drones, and dashers could reduce car traffic and emissions over time, making the streets safer overall. Still, as one commenter noted, that the outcome depends on strict regulation through thoughtful infrastructure planning and meaningful public input, not just corporate deployment. Might be our future, folks. We'll see. Yeah, bots delivering your food and consuming your bike lanes. I'm not feeling comfy about this one at all. I'm just not really there. Anyway, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's move on because we're running out of time here and we got to get to it. Let's go to the past weekend and bicycle racing. So we got a couple of things I wanted to bring up here, and one is the American rider Quinn Simmons. He put on an audacious attack at the Lombardia. Even scared Tadej Pogacar. So how do you beat Tadej Pogacar's long-range attacks? With an even bolder, longer range one. It was fun to watch. Give you a big tip of the cycling cap on this one, Quinn. That was outstanding. I knew you would get caught. I'm sorry. It's just it's a big, bold chance to take. You took it. Good for you. You never know until you do. This guy has got to be one of the most aggressive riders I have seen come out of the U.S. in years, and even to the bike racing scene. He's very, very, very aggressive. He reminds me a little bit of Julian Alaphilippe in the fact that Julian he's a guy who takes chances. He's always taking chances, and I love watching people like that race because every once in a while that chance pays off. Well, he was the hero of the day, even if he missed the final podium. But the ride of the weekend wasn't delivered by champion Tadej Pogacar. It came from Quinn Simmons. So Quinn, the article here says the Slovenian slugger attacked alone, smashed everyone, and won the race of the falling leaves for the record 5th time in a row. No small feat, but everyone expected that. The wildest performance of the weekend came from 24-year-old American Quinn Simmons, who opened things up with an audacious attack just 3 kilometers into the race to drive the day's main break and stayed away for nearly 5 hours. Yeah, 5 hours. Can you believe that? His long-range breakaway and his stubborn drive were not rewarded at the podium. He hung on for 4th, just 25 seconds behind 3rd place Michael Storer, but earned the ultimate compliment from Pogacar. Pogacar says, "We were already a little scared of him on the penultimate climb because he's a dangerous rider," Pogacar told Eurosport of Simmons' solo flyer. "I wasn't able to say anything to him, and he couldn't say anything to me either, but it was an impressive race by Quinn, a really great ride." Kudos from Tadej Pogacar, huh? So anyway, Quinn, I gotta, you're just cheering for him because you're going, he's going to do it. I can't believe he's going to pull this off. And yet he did not. So anyway, it was crushing to see him get caught, but then again, he still finished in range. So you got to realize that the guy is just an amazing rider. He won the best teammate award in the Tour de France. He's someone to watch. Let's keep an eye on Quinn. He's got some stuff going on. I think Quinn comes out of Durango. I'm not positive on that, but it seems to me that he's one of those high altitude, grew up in high altitude type guys. Anyway, Simmons pushed an average power output of 350 watts and peaked at a staggering 1,270 watts on the climbs and accelerations. 1,270 watts! Ouch! Those numbers revealed that Simmons is racing at a higher level in 2025. Completely shattered at the finish, Simmons posted last training session before Big Sugar, referencing his planned start at Sunday's gravel race in Arkansas. Simmons is also proving that he can mix old school panache with today's cutting edge training that left even Pogačar tipping his cap. Cool stuff. Yay, Quinn. Good job. Anybody who can beat Tadej Pogacar or put enough stress on him has certainly got my interest. So cool stuff. But in the long run, it was top class work, and the reserved Tadej Pogacar makes history for several reasons after winning Lombardia once again. This was his fifth time at it, so he's definitely set yet some more history. He's still looking for that ultimate best rider ever. Once again, Eddie Merckx is the best rider ever. There's no one that even compares to Eddie. And I went over this back in the Tour de France because everybody was talking about how, Tadej Pogacar is the best there is. And I went, let's look up that. Let's look at some facts. Well, I'll give you some facts right now. Eddie Merckx won between classics and races and stages and races. Obviously, 5-time Tour de France winner. That was very obvious. He's won Giro. He's won the Vuelta. He's won a lot of races. But he's won 525 races. 525 victories. And at this last summer in the Tour, Pogačar broke 100. So, anyway, he's got some work ahead of him. And he's got to stick with it in order to do that. So he's got to stay healthy and fit for a long time to pull that off. I don't think he can do it. He is spectacular. He is wonderful to watch. He is explosive and exciting. But you know what? There's a lot more like Quinn Simmons coming up. There's a lot of guys that look like that now. And we've got a young rider from Mexico right now who was really impressive in the Tour. And also in the Worlds. Del Toro, I think his name is. And just, there's a lot going on. And so I think it's going to be a lot harder to do it than it was when Merckx was around. That's all I'm saying. So, but Tadej, top class work, impressive stuff from his teammates. And that's why he's wearing the world champion jersey right now. So pretty cool stuff. Great weekend for Tadej Pogačar. Great weekend for Simmons. He had a great race too. It was just a fun weekend to watch bike racing. Of course, I was putting on a bike race, so I really didn't get to see it until I saw highlights because of being totally consumed by my cross race. So in 2030, cross-country running and cyclocross might be added to the Winter Olympic Games set to take place in France, and judo may also join the Winter Games in the International Olympic Committee's Fit for the Future initiative. They believe that this would help keep the Winter Games relevant regarding the Los Angeles 2028 Summer Games. Squash is among five new sports that have been added to the program. But this is cool. So cyclocross, and I've been talking about this for years. It's a tough sport. It should be an Olympic sport. should be Olympics. Well, looks like it might happen. So that's the latest in news that I have right now. There's definitely more out there. Get ready, because next week we are going to talk about the science and controversy of carbon monoxide rebreathing. Yes, you heard me right. Carbon monoxide training. The UCI banned the repeated inhalation of carbon monoxide in February of 2025, but there are people that are using carbon monoxide rebreathing and teams that are using that, and it's made to boost your VO2 max. I'll talk about it next week. I'm not going to get into it now. We don't have time for that. We're going to move on. And yeah, you heard me right. Carbon monoxide training. Events. Project Mayhem Cyclocross Series. Number 5 is in the books. That was Mansfield Hollow Cyclocross. This is the jersey, the sweatshirt, the infamous hoodie right here. The River Valley Cross Series is also still in effect until October 19th of 2025. So we still got some good cross series going on here in New England. The last 2 Project Mayhem Cross Series are both in Connecticut, and looking forward to seeing those too. So we got a lot of stuff going on still. Finishing points, Mansfield Hollow Cyclocross is over till next year. A big thanks to all that participated, donated, and sponsored, and a huge shout out to the volunteers. New e-bike laws October 1st in Connecticut. How do you feel about that? Give us your opinion. Remember, bicycling is freedom. Life is better for everyone when more people ride bikes. Cycling is an easier and safer option for more people, because when more people bike, people are happier and healthier, and our communities are safer and friendly, and our planet is greener. Together, we can help more people know the joy of bicycling. I'll say it again. It won't be my last time. Get loud. Get active. Our time has come. Stop complaining about traffic, dangerous roads, the price of gas, safe places to ride your bike, and do your part. Get out in front of your town. Show up to a town meeting. Make a stance. You know, you gotta talk about this. You gotta bring it up to the public. Take the Pedal and Run Challenge. Park your car or truck one day, and ride your bike instead. You're going to surprise yourself. I'm not going to say you just might. I'm going to say you're going to surprise yourself. Just remember, whether you're cycling on your bike or driving your car, please be safe and kind. The views expressed in this program do not reflect the views of the staff, management, or licensee of this station. You've been listening to Bicycle Talk without my friendly co-host, the lovely Dr. Fran Storch. If you're watching on Facebook Live, please feel free to comment down here below. I'd love to hear from you. You can listen to past episodes of Bicycle Talk on whus.org, iTunes, Spotify, and now on my Bicycle Talk YouTube channel. If you need to contact me directly, Bicycle Talk, 1 @gmail.com. This is Pedal and Run. Remember, keep that rubber side down and the wind at your back. Get out and ride your bike. It really could save your life. Save mine twice now. Take care. This is 91.7 FM, WHUS Stores, and WHUS.org. Thanks for listening. See you next week.